Good morning, everybody. First of all, the main point I want to emphasize, I want to see and hear the questions during the presentation. Don't wait to the end of my slides. Slides is not the main idea of the presentation. Presentations, when I running with the people, I want to see the people. I don't want to hear the silence. During following the presentations for a big amount, it's more seminar than general presentation. We have a Q&A panel, and you are welcome to send the questions to Q&A panel. Generally, you can send the question on any language you prefer. It can be English, Ukraine, or even Russian. I read all of them. Generally, I lived in Ukraine 30 years ago, more or less. I remember Ukraine, don't speak Ukraine, but I understand it fully. And don't hesitate to use Ukraine if you want to send some questions. Okay, let's begin. As you understand, my name is Igor, and I work in Radware for last 15 years. The main topic of the day, it's application security, which include different sides of security mitigation, and it will include everything. Just give me a second to concentrate. Yeah. Okay. Shortly, I will go through the landscape and challenges. Just one or two slides. I don't remember how many I put it. A bit DDoS. I hope and I suppose most of you already heard and know a lot about the DDoS, but just to put some general baseline for everybody about the DDoS, we will switch from DDoS to the application protection, because application protection's main point is service. And we will close the session with SSL and how it's complicated to run big amount of SSL on firewalls and any kind of security devices. And of course, we will summarize all our session. But generally, as I mentioned before, just don't hesitate to send questions. A bit about threats. Generally, what the main idea? We do not afraid from the attack. We afraid to lose money. Generally, to lose money, to lose our face, to lose our image. Nothing more. Generally, it's all about the money. By the end of the process, even when we are talking about the image, it's again money. We lost productivity. We're losing the revenue, we're losing our customers, we have any kind of penalties from the regulation side. Of course, somebody can try to extort us, etc. From challenges, when we try to mitigate the attacks or protect our revenues, our services, we have a lot of challenges we are facing. First of all, it's attack complexity. If yesterday we talked about the simple, yesterday I mean 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we talked about layer 4 DDoS in common, in general. Today we are talking mainly about the application attack, because DDoS still exist, but more or less operator can provide some kind of mitigation, and some of them it's more successful, some of them less successful, but can provide some kind of the protection on layer 3, layer 4. Today we are talking mainly on layer 7 attack, because it can be pretty small, but really kind of disaster for our services, and full unavailability of our services, which kind of lose of all our revenues during the unavailable day time. And of course, in the future, if customer cannot get the service today, he will not come tomorrow as well. The network complexity. today, if yesterday again, I am talking about yesterday and today, I mean in the past, 99%, even 100% was allocated, has allocation at the data center, local data center, company data center, maybe from time to time on some kind of SaaS. Today, we are talking about the more services moving to public cloud and to public infrastructure like Amazon, like Google, etc. And new regulation following the huge amount and range of attacks and huge amount of the customer who is complaining about the personal data leakage, etc., etc., etc. We have a lot of new regulation in the world, and of course, the last research showing in the world we are missing around between 4 to 5 million security experts. It means to get the security experts, it's become too expensive, or you cannot get good qualified staff at all. And this is a big mess. A bit DDoS. As you know, the DDoS it's it's not simple, but from my perspective, we have a lot of the attack which is simple to mitigate. And what does it mean? What is the anatomy of the DDoS attack? Some attacker can send non-legitimate requests to protected resources or non-protected resources. What is the reason behind that? It can be some ransom, some option to steal information, etc., etc. A lot of reasons why they doing it. That, but in generally, what is the main idea? When attacker is attacking the destination and the victim, where legitimate customer cannot reach the resource and get the service. This is the main idea. Deny of service. That the company which tried to sell something to you cannot sell it because they have not enough resources or pipe saturated or server down, etc. Many reasons. Today, when we are looking on the attack which is running over the internet, we see mainly layer 7 attack when we are looking on a lot of services, commercial services, and in case of any kind of DNS services, gaming services, they mostly under the layer 4 attack, which trying to saturate the capacity of the specific resource. How we can mitigate and ensure? It's pretty general picture, as you can see. Somebody tried to get inside the protected object or protected service. You can install something, some device, some protective device on the perimeter itself, or you can send it to the scrubbing center, which is some kind of service. During the attack, traffic redirected, as mentioned here on the picture, to the scrubbing center and redirected to the customer in case of customer has their own autonomic system number through GRE tunnel. In case it's a small customer want to protect 1 or 2 IP addresses, it's redirected by DNS and has a NATed IP address, which will cause to traffic get the destination and get back through the cloud again. Pretty simple, pretty understandable. If somebody need to get the more information about the option of designs, I can share the information separately. The cloud services, the main idea of cloud service to protect from huge attack which can't be mitigated on the perimeter of protected site or object, you can call it how you wish. The cloud service can protect, depend on the company which is you have agreement or you want to sign agreement. It really depends on the company. For example, Cisco service can provide up to 12 terabit mitigation. 12 terabit mitigation, it's a huge amount. It's a huge. They're just huge. The biggest attack in the last year, 2022, was 2.5 terabit per second. Our scrubbing center saw 1.1 terabit attack. By the way, the attack was on the Ukraine resources, which is protected by our service. It Prime Minister Cabinet, the portal, if I'm not mistaken, it's some governmental portal, Ukraine portal, which protected by our service, and we see the biggest peak on our scrubbing. It's 1.1 terabit. You can say me we can mitigate it on our scrubbing local scrubbing center, but I don't think it's possible because each operator in the country has some limitations on the external links. They can provide good, maybe they have a good equipment, good technology to protect, but in general, the main problem is pipe. And in our case, we can provide up to 12 gig. Which platform are available on top of the, or in addition to the cloud service? This is three main options. The first options you can, if you have or you can buy firepower device series 41XX or 9300, one of them, and you can install model which called VDP, Virtual Defense Pro. You can install Virtual Defense Pro on general infrastructure like Cisco UCS, for example. It's based KVM, etc. You can install it. The capacity in such case, it's up to 50 gigabit per second mitigation. And of course, you can buy the Defense Pro device itself, physical device, which is available in different ranges from 10 gigabits to 800 gigabits mitigation per second. Everything depends on your needs, on your requirements, etc. I don't think, okay, 1 second, I see Budeki Pitania presentation. Okay, sorry, it's, okay, great. Okay, from Defense Pro platform, as I mentioned, it's from 10 to 800 gig. Generally, the small medium business running with a first line platform, which is X10 and X20. Again, depend on your needs, port connectivity, mitigation capacity, legitimate traffic which you are running, etc. We are helping to everybody to choose right device which can be good for you today and which can grow with you tomorrow. Most of all of our devices has an on-demand capability to grow with installing the new license. Do somebody have some question? I see the Q&A is empty. Okay, what is important when we are talking about the Defense Pro technology? This, I know I working in a company almost 15 years, but in any way, I think our technology today is the best on the market. This is my point of view. You, of course, you can has your own opinion, but in general, I think it's the best on the market. First of all, we provide in the same platform layer 3, layer 7 capabilities. The second one, we have a lot of different options to mitigate an encrypted attack. And we support TLS 1.3 in the hardware. It's very important because we are running in front of DDoS attack. We need to have high capability to mitigate attacks on hardware and not in software. And we support TLS 1.3 in the hardware. We increase the performance of our platform to go with the time, because the capability of attackers grows constantly, and they are increasing the capacity and the options how to run the attack. We will discuss it a bit. From the application thread, as I mentioned on the previous slide, we support the 1.3 on the hardware, and we provide the maximum visibility, easy configuration to do not have a lot of configuration upfront to attack or during the attack, And what is more important, our equipment provide the behavioral capabilities. Everybody saying we have behavioral, but it's too different. It's different behavioral from what we providing. I do not want to go too deep inside the technology, but we really provide any kind of mitigation options, which is running from first second, and we have a behavioral which provide the 0-day attack mitigation in a seconds as well. It's really great technology which was introduced. First time it was introduced in 2003 or 4, if I'm not mistaken, and already almost 20 years with us. And we are a bit modified during the life cycle, but it's still best behavioral DDoS protection on the market. From the SSL perspective, as you remember, I mentioned the options of different options for TLS or SSL encrypted attack. If you are familiar with the DDoS products on the market, which is proposed by different companies, all of them propose, in case you want mitigate some attack under SSL, they propose you two options. Or you are running on layer 4, or you are running with full SSL decryption. The first one, which provide you network layer based attack mitigation, the full SSL protection can provide you the layer 7 mitigation capabilities, but you will need to pay about the resources. When you need to decrypt fully the traffic, you will need to pay a lot. You just need to put huge machines, very expensive machines, to do small amount of SSL traffic from DDoS attack perspective. What we are providing and what we are proposing to the market, first of all, to run is different modes depend on your needs. The first one is keyless. We are looking on the encrypted SSL. We are learn behavioral of the SSL, create the rate invariant rate limits, rates, not limits, rates, and we know how to look legitimate traffic and what is not inside the legitimate corridor. And in such cases, we can limit the non-usual traffic without any decryption. It's very important to understand because the decryption itself brings a lot of pain for the customer who need to pay a lot of money. Another options, as you can see, we have today we have 5 options, and tomorrow we will have a 6 options, number 6, which will be introduced by the end of June, beginning of July. But today we are talking about just 5. But just 5, it's 5 times more than the rest on the market. All the rest competition on the market just running with full SSL protection. Again, first SSL request with just first SSL request decryption and challenge response. Selective first SSL, the selective full, and the last result, like others on the market, full SSL protection. Just to remember, we have a biggest options and best options, I think, better options to mitigate attack under SSL. You will have, first of all, low latency. You don't have an attack, you don't need to decrypt anything to understand you're under attack. When the attack is in place, you can decrypt just first packet or selective threads, first or full. It's a huge advantage when you need to protect your SSL traffic. And a bit about the technology. Do you remember I said a lot of people talking about the behavioral, but you have a 2 different behavioral, maybe more different technology on the market, but our technology is really the best. All the people talking about we have behavioral depend on your real rates. We are talking about rate invariant. What is the difference between rate and rate invariant? Rate means, if I have a, give me a second to annotate. Yeah, I have options to annotate. For example, here, if you can see here, this is a rate, yeah? But if you are bring through the rate, you will drop the traffic. And in our case, you need to understand which traffic to drop. And we have a great technology, first of all, to analyze and understand. You are under crowd. It just some good news was published on some, I don't know, CNN, and everybody goes to the CNN page to see the Ukraine win the war. I don't know. But in general, when you have a flash crowd, the main competition on the market, especially in operator networks, will cut the traffic. What they doing in the general life, they just look on the traffic, but the old policies running in report only mode. They do not block anything because it's in most of cases they have a lot of false positives. We are looking on the flag distribution, and we do not cut anything just because the, I don't know, some SYN packets become 2 times more than as usual. We first of all look on the distribution, and this is a main point. Don't rely on some parameters. We need to have a multiple complex parameters, which is totally it's a next level of mitigation and design. And we are talking about the main idea is to run all mitigation automatically. And our technology provides us, first of all, with a fully automatic mitigation 0 days attack in the range of time maximum up to 18 seconds. When all our competition talking about the minutes, when they're talking about the seconds, it means they're talking about static predefined filters, which can be created on our technology as well. But competition 100% talking about the manual static signature, which if it's created from ahead, its mean should have and will have false positive rate, pretty high false positive rate. When we're talking about our on-demand behavioral real-time signature generation, we are talking about the signature or footprint which will be created specifically for specific attack. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions, don't hesitate to send them, because I think you will forget the question by the end of presentation. Which options we have to deploy the DOS protection? We have a cloud protection. We have a on-prem option. All of them available on the Cisco price list. From the cloud, you have 3 different options. You have always on, when traffic goes through our cloud 24/7. You have a hybrid, when the traffic goes 24/7 through device which is installed on premises, and during the attack, the traffic will be moved to the cloud. And you have on demand, when the traffic goes to the, I don't know, to your server, to your application, and in case of attack, the traffic will be redirected through our cloud. All options are available. Depend on your needs. You can use any of them. And from my point of view, the best choice in general is hybrid or always on. Of course, you can use on-prem, it's on demand only, but again, depend on your tasks. Okay, from cloud, it's pretty simple. We use the same technology like on-prem device, where the main idea of our mitigation of our solution is not just to stop the attack, but the main idea it gives to the legitimate traffic to reach application and serve the end user. This is the main idea. It's too big difference a lot of companies on the market talking about the mitigation. We are talking about the SLA. We are talking the legitimate user must get the service 24/7. This is the main idea, not to stop the attack. Nobody care about the attack. Everybody care about the legitimate user who was or will be served without any interference. This is the main idea. From our point of view, we have a 90 scribing center in the world. Global mitigation capacity, we have 12 terabits. As you can see, the scribing center spread it around the world. The close nearest one to Ukraine is Frankfurt, Amsterdam, or London. But again, when we mitigate the attack, we are mitigate the attack as close to the attacker region as possible, because we have a lot of scribing centers. As you can see, when attack coming from United States, attack will be mitigated in United States. When attack coming from China, it will be mitigated in China, etc. This is the main idea of our scribing center network. Application. Let's switch to application. I spent more than half of my time. I will a bit speed up my presentation. Application security. Application security, as you can see, I hide the DDoS part, but DDoS, it's a part of application security as well. Okay, what we need to protect the application today? We need the WAF technology, for sure. We need the API protection. Yes, we need a bot manager protection, bot management, because it's a lot of bots running over the internet, which is fully comply with HTTP protocol and running without any SQL injections, etc. And to mitigate the bot attacks, you need to have special dedicated instrument to mitigate it. And the new one in the last years, it was become more and more common, the client-side protection. Client-side attacked as well. Okay, WAF technology. WAF technology basically maintain two technology itself inside. The negative security model and positive security model. The negative, it's very easy to adapt to any kind of application, but it's not cover all, at least we are talking about OWASP top 10. No, it cannot fully protect against the top 10 attacks, but easy to introduce it to any kind of services. The positive technology provides a full OWASP top 10 protection, but with a minimum false positive, of course, but it takes a lot of time to create such model on some solutions what we are seeing on the market. In our case, we provide the same technology on the perimeter on-prem solution, exactly like in the cloud. In the cloud, we use our WAF, which is covered by the portal infrastructure, but in general, it's the same technology. You will get the API protection as well. Why do you need the API protection? First of all, you need visibility to know you have it. You need automation, because with the API protection, mainly protected by positive technology. And of course, you need to know exact structure of your API. If you have full understanding of it, it's good. If not, you need some mechanism to learn it. Just to show, I don't want to bother you, but just small API example. Somebody familiar, somebody not. API created based on API pass. It's some kind of call, like HTTP call. It's call endpoint. Inside the endpoint, you have an API method. For example, get, post, etc. What is available, and API params. Which params are available, which kind of params, etc., etc. All of those should be configured. You have a schema, etc. But the schema, for example, API, Open API 3, etc., not all the time available, and mainly it's not maintained well. What does it mean not maintained well? R&D can develop something and you don't know they change it. When you need to protect the API, you need to ask several questions yourself. Just to ask them. API documented? It's up to date? Yes, no. How do you protect it today if it's undocumented or if it's documented? Do you have a tool? If you don't know you have an API, happened, guys, girls, everybody, ladies, gentlemen, it's happened. You are security expert, but you have somebody who is developing some application for you in-house or out of house, third-party company, and they not every time, believe me, not every time provides the documentation and explanation to the application. What we can provide you, in case you have an open API schema, it's great. We have a just tool which you can upload it to our WAF or Cloud WAF and you can run it. But on our Cloud WAF, we have API discovery. You will just turn on the options, discover my API, and in 24 hours, we will discover API and create the protection. Very simple. You don't need to be master of and understand everything. We will create it for you on our cloud. Automation, its main idea, all our mitigations, DDoS, WAF, API protection, bot management. Everywhere we are talking about automation. Automations provide to our team and to our customers the great TCO and less OpEx. You don't need a huge amount of security engineers, which is missing on the market to protect your applications. How we do the discovery, it's very simple. The traffic running through our system, we understand we are looking for endpoints, learning the endpoints inside about the methods, about the path, which parameters, in case of parameters, which type of parameters, ranges, etc., and apply the positive security models, positive schema protection on the API. As I mentioned, no expert is required, everything done by system, automatic. Bot management. The main point that in the 80%, almost 80% of organizations, they don't know to distinguish between good and bad bots. It's very, very important point. They just don't have any idea to distinguish between bad and good. And some of them have no idea about who is legit human and who is a bot at all. And what we are doing, we are protect you from all fourth generation. For example, it's a picture to understand the different generation which is running in the internet. You have a scripted bots. It's somebody just take a Python and run the script. You have a headless browsers bot, which is more sophisticated than the scripted bots, but still on the base level. The next generation, third one, it's a human-like bots. They have a full stack behind, and it's pretty hard to understand the bots. Again, depends on situation, etc. And the latest one, it's a human-like bot networks, which is really distributed and goes with a really low rate per instance. And to understand them, you need to look inside much deeper on intent. You need to understand what the bottom line the bot or client want to get. And we are looking exactly on intent. Generally, all of those related to the web application security. But as you know, all of our competition on the market, maybe you don't know if you not look really for the term cloud solutions, running with a classic model of the cloud WAF. What does it mean, classic model? Classic model means you redirect the traffic to the cloud service. In this case, it's cloud WAF. By DNS name changes or CNAME some of the options. The traffic goes to the cloud. Cloud cleans up the traffic. If you buy wall package with the bot manager, without bot manager, I don't care. We are talking about in general. And we are moving the traffic to the client with a NAT address. When the traffic is get the destination, the server is responding on the NAT address. And what the main point of the solution? Main point of the solution, you need to deliver your SSL key or TLS key to the cloud. Not all customer is ready to share key with the cloud. We are provide the only solution which can run without key. How we did it? We created by sideband API architecture. We are the schema as the following. The data path still as usual. The end user go to the service platform, which can be everywhere, even in public cloud. Afterwards, the software will send the copy of traffic to our cloud, after decryption, of course, to our cloud. We'll get the response from the cloud. And as a third step after analyzing, of course, if it should be blocked, it will be blocked. If it should be transferred to the origin server, it will be origin. The main idea, you can use any equipment you have. We support in Amazon AWS Cloud from Lambda. If you have a F5, it's based on iRules. If you have an Nginx, you can install a model on Nginx or on our Altron platform. From the solution perspective, what you are getting, first of all, you're fully flexible. You don't need to deliver SSL certificate, no inline processing. You fully control the latency, and as main point, like no SSL certificate sharing, no routing changes. The traffic will get as usual to your premises, and after that, you will deliver, share it with the platform. When you can install it, when you're talking about the ADC, can be installed in public cloud. Sorry, I just switched from the security to ADC. I just mentioned we are cutting and moving to SSL and ADC. When we are moving to the ADC domain, ADC, you can buy it as an appliance or as the gel license or virtual appliance license. Up to you. Different options are available. When it can be installed, it can be installed on the private cloud, Cisco ACI, OpenStack, etc. It can be installed on public cloud, of course, Google, Amazon, Azure, physical appliance I mentioned, and it can be done on different license options. Let's move to SSL. SSL, which kind of complications you have? When you're running the firewalls and you need to validate the content, you need to decrypt traffic. To decrypt traffic, you need a lot of resources, and you need to pay over them. And what does it mean? You have several options. You can buy a huge firewall, for example, Firepower 9000 or 9300, and decrypt some amount of traffic. If, for example, you have, I don't know the exact numbers of Cisco Firepower, but in general, the performance of Cisco Firepower is less than SSL decryption dedicated machine. But you need, it's a kind of trade-off. When you pay for SSL in Cisco Firepower, I think it will be more expensive when you pay by buying the SSL inspection model separately. But you need to get in calculation when you don't decrypt on Cisco Firepower, you can turn on different features on the Firepower itself, which will be not available for you when you decrypt it due to the capacity issue. Available several options. As I understand, we have a different bundle options. It can be a large bundle option, medium, small, and entry one. It's again depend on your specific needs. As I mentioned, when the decryption bundle is relevant, first of all, reduce the cost. It's a main point. You reduce the cost. This next one, you have a multi inspections. For example, you have a several devices, not just firewall, but additional, I don't know, IDS machine or IPS machine, which is separated from the firewall. And you need to run the traffic through the firewall, after that through IPS or IDS for some web filtering or some web gateway, etc. The device, the solution, SSL decryption solution, will provide you multiple traffic destination. When you send the traffic not just to one device, you send it to device number one, for example, it's firewall, web gateway is device number two, and the IPS device number three. And after then, the device, SSL decryption device, will encrypt the traffic again and send it to the final destination. And of course, last but not least, multi-hardware. When you have not just one firewall, you have some cluster which include the 4 firewalls or 2 or 3 firewalls, more than one in general. The solution will provide load balancing with keeping on touch with the session on the same firewall to keep on the session running smoothly without any interruptions. Which kind of devices you can buy? It's a different range of devices. I will not stop of that because we really have no time. They're from 10 gigabits to 320 gigabits of throughput. You just need to choose the right platform. Of course, you cannot choose it alone. We will help you, but in generally, you have a huge range of platforms. VADC or GEL, all about the virtual platforms. You can run it, as I mentioned, on different platforms. The minimal standalone device is 200 megabits, minimal GEL license device is 25, up to 230 gigabit. Okay, interfaces. I think I will share the presentation with the team, and they will share it with you. A lot of different options with the port density. You can choose everything you wish. Just let us know during the bomb creation. We will create the bomb with the information which kind of port you need. Licenses, it's several types of licenses. Again, I don't go to deep dive in the licenses. You will get the presentation and you will have an options to see each package what included inside. Guys and girls, our guests, I didn't get just any question from you. It was too silent, too quiet in our presentations. If you have any questions, just take a picture from the screen. You have a dedicated email address. You can ask questions for additional information, for some deep dive on the specific topic which was covered here or not covered here. Was not fully covered. It's up to you. I don't know what your needs in the daily use, but generally just take a picture from the screen. You have a mail address, you have a barcode, QR code, sorry, you can run it and you will get the mail. I don't know. If we don't have a questions, I go to the close my presentation with 1 or 2 slides to summarize. Okay, I see one question. Give me a second. Somebody send the questions. We have a questions. Could somebody read the question in Ukraine? Okay, QR code doesn't work. Okay, I will ask the guys. Pablo Rodionov is here. No, in my case, it's worked well. The QR code sending me to the mail, guys. Delete. Okay, sorry, I missed the question. It was some question. Give me a second. There was some question here in the chat. In the chat, somebody sent the question. Give me a second. Okay. До 40 гігабіт є рейтинг по продуктах. В яких випадках треба використовувати Firepower як платформу та радвер для невеликої компанії? 40 gigabits, I suppose it can be done on a Firepower 9300. Over than 40 gigabits, for sure, it should be done on external device. We have a Defense Pro 100, we have a Defense Pro 8 gigabit. We have a different platform you can choose from. Okay, I see another question. 1 second. What is a typical method of non-encrypted traffic protection? When we're talking about the non-encrypted, you can do anything you wish. First of all, on the layer 4, it can be behavioral. You can use for SIM protection, you can use, for example, general SIM protection like TCP recent, etc., or to be fully proxy. In case of the application, you can create different filters which will provide you with from layer 4 to layer 7 mitigation capabilities. I think it's the same question from Artyom. For example, DDoS protection for external DNS servers. For external DNS servers, we provide the different options from behavioral to whitelisted long domains. For example, you have a different recursive DNS attack. In such cases, we are creating the automatically, of course, the list of legitimate DNS requests, domains, and you can maintain this file if you wish manually, if you wish continue to run it automatically. It's up to the customer. Okay, 1 second. I will see if okay. No, I get it. I answer all questions till now. If you wish to ask more questions, you are welcome, but we still have just 5 minutes. Let's move to the final slide. Let's conclude what kind of options we have. We have, first of all, physical devices, virtual devices, and cloud services. If you are talking about the application protection, you can choose what do you want. We are talking about mainly about the cloud. Today, it's more simple. A lot of customers don't have the resources and they do not go to the huge CapEx project and both later on to the huge expenses on the OpEx due to you need to have a staff to maintain the products. We are providing the WAF, we are providing the API protection, we are providing the bot manager protection, DDoS including layer 7 protection, and we protect from client side form jacking attack, etc. It's very important to keep in mind you can have one wall protection in one place. It's very important. And it's more slide for Pavel and Vladimir. Vladimir on vacation, if I'm not mistaken. Pavel was here. I don't know if it was Pavel Rodionov or not. We are talking about Cisco Secure DDoS. It will protect network and data center resiliency. Cisco Secure WAF and bot provide you application protection, as I mentioned before, and Cisco Security C, it's fully equipped, based on the market, and the ADC product, which can be bundled as SSL inspection for SSL offloading on the perimeter, or you can run it as a load balancer layer 4, layer 7, including any kind of chains. Will be great to see you, I think, maybe in the next year.